Okay, welcome back. Let's get rid of this. It's a nice day in Kailua Kona, Hawaii. Ali'i Drive is not too loud today, so that's good. Hopefully that remains as I continue recording here. But today we're going to look at Nimble Brain and see what's going on with Nimble Brain. There's a couple of interesting things. There's tools, impact, TypeScript. 1 hour ago. Okay. 36 minutes ago. Impact 36 minutes. Okay, so there's some TypeScript work happening. Shell script work happening. More Python. Okay. Let's look at the... Let's look at this. Synapse? Synapse? I don't know how you say that. Maybe just snaps. Agent Aware SDK for the Nimble Brain platform. Type the tool calls. Reactive state, reactive hooks. Optional enhancement layer. Okay. There's some JS here. Okay. Call tool. On data change. So this is already kind of reading OO, which is okay, which is fine. For this, it's just wrapping. It looks like it's just wrapping a wrapper, basically. Snaps provider. Synops? I have no idea how you say that, but okay. Here's the reactive state store. Okay, so we're creating an object, creating the store, passing the object, another object, initial state, actions that are actions that you can perform on said state, option to persist or not, visible to agent, and then a summarize function that can be provided. Yep, and we just dot into, excuse me, to that. Okay. One contributor, Matthew. I know Matthew. We met some years back, and he's local to Hawaii, or was. I don't know if he still is, but local to Hawaii was at the time when I met him some years back. And cool guy. The timing wasn't quite right for us to. I was just looking for other opportunities local to Hawaii. Just being here for 9 years, it's, most of my work is abroad. It's either in other countries or it's on the West Coast or on the East Coast here in the States. Some central stuff in Texas, but mostly West Coast and East Coast stuff. Anyway, I was looking for some local stuff, and we kind of met up. He was doing some Node.js at the time, which the timing was just not, unfortunately, it wasn't quite right. I was doing more Erlang stuff at the time, and even some Elixir stuff, distributed systems, just really heavy backend stuff. And he was doing Node stuff, and which is funny because It wasn't too long after that that I actually got into Node.js and started doing more JavaScript stuff. But yeah, so anyway, he's still kicking around, and this is as recent as you can get with 3 hours, 1 hour here. So let's take a look at some of the. There's only one issue. Init scaffold. Okay. Okay. Might take a look at that later, but let's look at some code. Source. Let's look at the test and see what we're working with here. Let's look at core. Okay, Vitest. Cool, we used that in the last video. Or was it the last video? Maybe it was just a previous video. Okay, so we're pulling in core. Find the UI initialize request, send via post message, and respond to it. Okay. Dispatch notification. All right. Respond to last request. Walking backwards to find the most recent request. Okay. I mean, we could reduce over this or fold, right? And we can, instead of folding from left to right, we would just fold from right to left or reduce from right to left. So this, you could reduce that. And you are walking it backwards, so that tells me that, and for the most recent request, so why not just compute the recent request as like a stack or something, or a why not just compute them in the order that you would need to walk it, right? So just treat it like an actual functional list where you're just prepending to the beginning. That way, whenever you need to walk it, you can walk it from the most recent to the least recent, I suppose. Reject last request. Well, this is the same thing, right? We just looked at this. Yeah. So we're getting the calls from our, I mean, okay, this isn't a test, but it's just something I'm noticing, right? So it's less important. This is just test code, but still, like, we're getting our mocked calls. We're casting to records, right? Same thing, getting our mock calls, casting to records. I mean, it's fine. It's for the for test purposes. If this was actually in the code, then I would. But I guess I just want to point out that it's precisely the same. The only thing that's different is what you're dispatching here. That's different. So, anyway. Excuse me. And then we're testing that out. Okay. I didn't really want to get too involved in the test. I just want to know what testing framework. So that's nice. We have that already on our system. Keyboard store. Let's just look at detection. I think this is host detection. Get some of this. pretty straightforward. Let's look at the code for this. Let's look at the detection. Okay. Detect host. So getting a net response is coming in. We're trying to cast that to a record. Or it's otherwise, if we can't do that, it's either null or undefined. Response server info, server name. Okay. Well, this is the same, right? This is the same. We're just this could be cleaned up a little bit, and then okay. I mean, it's subtle, but I think that it's like it's as functional programmers, again, it's about trying to reduce the noise a little bit. It's about trying to make the code a little bit more expressive. The language gives us the ability to make this a little bit more expressive, so why not take advantage of that? So here, this is fine, but I have to mentally parse that's what's going on. And for some people, it might be trivial, but it's still a little bit of cognitive processing, right? Like you have to say, oh, it's trying to check if it's a string. Type of something's coming. Oh, it's just trying to check if it's a string, right? Rather than just having a predicate that tells that you can look at and know that that's what's happening. And maybe we'll look at that. And then it's this safe object. What's this safe object doing? Oh, it's down here at the bottom. Okay. So it's taking in. It's trying to. Okay. Not equal to null. See, we're type of again. Array. These should just be. I mean, there's a little bit of opportunity here for cleanup. We could clean this up a little bit. Let's take a closer look. Should we? Yeah, let's take a closer look. Why not? Let me grab and let's do a git clone on this. Let's come into snaps. I know I'm butchering that. Okay. And then let's just try to see what we can get by running. Need to install the following packages. Okay. Hopefully this won't take too long. I forgot to, let's do this. Okay, now let's try that again. Okay, perfect. Oh, and it's watching. So this is kind of cool. This is already kind of set up to watch files for changes. So you don't have to constantly rerun your test every time you make a change. So okay, so all these tests run. There's transport test, there's type generator, store, core, keyboard. There's our detection. Let's just try to point this at detection for a second. Okay, vi test, and then I think it was source, and a little bit of Python sneaking in here. Test, and then detection. Okay. Can we? Yeah. Okay, we can do that. Cool. And we can watch that too. So great. So now we should now be able to come over. Well, let's pull up cursor, and let's get to that folder. Here it is. Okay. And close this tab. It was under source and detection. Here. Okay. Let's take a closer look at this and see if we can't just kind of clean this up a bit. I mean, hold on, before I do that, let's look and see if there's some helpers. Code gen, preview, React. I don't see a helpers folder. I don't even see a helpers file. So, what's his types? Oh, I guess this is just, maybe this is just the type definitions is what this looks like. So like a types.d.ts or something. Yeah. Yeah, these look like they're just the types. Okay, which makes sense. Okay, so yeah, I don't see a, open this up again. I don't see a utils. So we'll need to add that. So let's start by adding a new file. We'll call it utils.typescript. And I guess the thing I see straight away is this call for type of here. So let's, we have it here, we have it here, and we have it here, here, so, and down here even. So, okay, let's just, let me show you what I mean by making things a little bit more readable. So let's just call it is string for now. It's going to take a string. Is string is going to take a string. Well, it's going to take any, right? This is TypeScript. I have to remember that. This is TypeScript. I know most of the videos, really all the videos have been JavaScript up to this point, but this is TypeScript, so we got to do things a little bit differently. So, and then we're just checking to see if X is type of, right, string, like this, okay? And then export is string, this, and then over here, we want to bring that in. Import is string. Whoops, not C, string. And that's not from node C, that is from our utils that we just defined. Okay. So now we can actually come down in here, replace this server info name with isString. Server info $name. Okay. To me, that already looks better. So we'll just continue on here with the protocol version. And down here with our primary color, right? Is there a question mark in there? No, there wasn't. Okay. isString object dot primary color. Here we're checking for object, and then we have our array calls, and you know, it's subtle, but it makes a difference. It pays dividends down the road. Let's do isObject, and quickly type of x object. All right, and then O comes before S. O comes before S. And then we can check object.tokens. Is that right? Yep. So we're checking the tokens here. We're checking value here. Okay. Save that. Let's check our test. Tests, looks like the tests are still passing. I think so. Let's make sure this file is, the file watcher is working. Let's just try to do something like this. Save. Okay, so the file watcher is working. So now if I change that back and save it, we're back to passing. Okay, so this is working. All right, so a little bit nicer. Excuse me. A little bit more readable. It cuts down on the noise a little bit. But we could do a little bit better. So this is kind of, we're calling safe object. What is safe object? So safe object takes in some value. It will try to determine if the value is not null and it's not an and it is an object and it's not an array. So if all those things are true, then it tries to cast to a record. Otherwise it returns undefined. So why not just say that? Why not just express what it is that we're trying to do by chaining these predicates like this. So we could create a function here, right? Because yeah, because look, it's in safe object, and it's also right here in extract theme. Is object, is array, is it used up here? No. So it's just in these two places, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this was being used elsewhere in the code base. So why not just express that? Why not just express that the predicate for can cast to record, right? That's really all you're doing, is you're saying, can this thing, whatever I have, can this thing, whatever I have, be, is it not equal to null? And that should be its own function. Const is null. Let me just take care of this real quick. X. Hopefully you're seeing the pattern here. Not type of. If X is null, like this. So now, is null X and is object X and is not an array. Let's do is array. Is array. And that's going to take an X. And that's just going to be defined in terms of is array, right? We're just wrapping is array so that we can actually, so it actually reads a little bit better, right? So now all we have to do is C comes before I, can cast to record. And let's bring this back in, can cast to record. And now we can express this in terms of a function call, can cast to record value, right? So, and now that I'm looking at this can be shortened down. We don't even need this structure. We can just say can return, can cast to record the value. If that can be casted to a record, then we're simply just going to do that. Value as record of type string to unknown. Known. Okay, otherwise undefined. Right? So now we cut down on the noise even further. Let's check our tests. We're failing on extract from theme host. Let's see, expected false to be true. Object dot is equality. Unknown to be Claude. Huh. Let's come back. Okay. So detect nimble brain host is failing. Detect Let's open up the test for detection. There it is. Detect NimbleBrain host. NimbleBrain to be true, server name to be NimbleBrain, and protocol version. So, what did I change here? Is string. I think this was just, I thought this was just type of. Let's take a look at what it was. Yeah, this was just protocol version, server info name, interesting, that's really all I changed. Was, is this a string for server name and protocol version? Alright, maybe let's just try rerunning that. Yeah. Expected light to be dark, object.isEquality. Okay. Detects NimbleBrain host and non-NimbleBrain host. So the NimbleBrain host is NimbleBrain to be true. Why is NimbleBrain not true? Is NimbleBrain's server name? Oh, that's weird. Okay, so let's bring this back and see. I don't know why that's failing. Server info. Just gonna replace this with server info name. Okay. And then let's do server and I think this was response, yeah. Response protocol version. Alright, so if I save that, interesting, why is this still failing? Import from utils. This seems fine to me. Maybe there's something that, did I fat finger something? Let's see. Object.primary color. Is it? Oh man. Is it in here? Let's see. Is object.tokens. Yeah, I don't know what this could be. Let's do object here, and then we'll do object.tokens. Okay. What is going on? Okay. Maybe it's the cast to record. Maybe it's can cast to record. Maybe I messed up somewhere in here. Is null. Oh. Array should just be this. And then can cast to record is null. And this should be not. Right? Because we don't want it to be null. It's not null, and it's an object, and it's not an array. I think that's... yeah, that's what it was. I'll just move a little too fast. Okay, so that's all good. Let's come back now and... sorry about that. Let's replace what we had here with object tokens. Object.tokens, and then not null, is null, and then object.tokens not is null. What's wrong with this? Oh, I took it out. I need to bring it back. Oh, I never exported it, did I? Nope. HIJKLMN comes before O is null. I need to now bring it in. And now this will be like that. Not is array. Object tokens. I need to bring is array in. Object.tokens. Let's do that. Is array. Okay, is array. Okay. So we're good there. And now we can come back to object.primary color. Primary color, and then up here we have here the response protocol version, and then this was server info name. Like that. Whoops. And okay, so that looks good. Test still pass. Alright, so that's kind of what I was doing. I was just moving too fast, and I did not have the not on this is null. Okay, but hopefully you can start to see it's a little bit of cleanup, but it's already starting to me to read a little bit better. I don't need to parse type of, because I can just look and see that is string is a predicate. is checking to see if this is a string. If this is a string, right? And in this extract theme, why are we primary color? Mode. These are just expressions. So I understand that we're creating variables here, or we're creating constant values, but I mean, now that, oh, can cast to record is the not is null and the is object and the not is array, right? Yeah. So can cast to record, we can clean this up. And object.tokens can cast to record object.tokens, right? And now we don't really need the, well, we may not. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, that fits, right? So we really don't even need this. And these are just expressions now. So we don't need them. So the fact that we're creating a mode, we're creating a primary color, we're creating a tokens, and we're just using them for this, we can just return it right here, right? We can say that mode is this expression. We can say that primary color is this expression, and tokens is this expression. Right? And if we just, for a second, for just a moment, we just comment that out, save that, check our test. Test still pass. Wow. Yeah. So that reads a lot cleaner to me. We're reducing the noise. We're reusing the can cast to record, right? And yeah. How are we doing on time? 43 minutes. I should probably start wrapping this up. So, like I said, it's subtle, but if we were to take this sort of concept and start applying it to other areas, we can get there, right? We can get to a little bit more cleaner code. I do see that we're calling safe object an isString here. So we're getting the result of a safe object, and then and then we're doing that here. We're getting the safe object and then extracting the theme. If I have more time, I would try composing. I would try to compose safe object I would probably create a maybe like a get server name function for this. And then that way get server name as a function, instead of just evaluating to a value, it could be a function that is used in a composition of functions. So I know I don't have time for this, but get server name takes some server info, right? That would ultimately do this check here, right? So you're just creating a function out of it, so that basically all you would need to do. I don't have. See, this is where I would pull in a library from Ramda. I pull in the Ramda library here, but I don't have that. So let me just create a little compose real quick for like a little two-function compose that takes an F and a G, and then it takes an X, and then it's just G of X and then F of G of X, right? And this is TypeScript, so we need to, and I think if I remember, TypeScript has a function type, yes. Function, okay. So something like this, CO comes after CA, pose, and now after pose. Oh, so because we have can cast to record, we don't need these. Okay, so now what I would actually do is determine server. So server name would become the composition of two functions. The first function is going to be safe object, and then from safe object we'll go into get server name. Okay, but I need to get the server info first. No. I can, get server name like this, and then when this compose function gets called, we could just say that, well, this is just going to be server info, right? So const get server info is going to be defined in terms of this composition here. So the composition of get server name and the safe object, right? So now server name is, or it can be, get server info, passing in the response server info. Oh, response dot server info, like this. Okay, so now if I look at that, get server info, server name is protocol version, test still pass. So now that's what I mean by composition, like just cleaning things up a little bit. So get server name now takes the server info, whatever that happens to be. It will determine if it's a string. If it is, it will try to get the name from it. Otherwise, it will return unknown. Get server info is a composition of get server name and safe object. And so when we call get server info here, we're getting the server name. We're computing the server name by first calling safe object and then get server info. That's how we get our server name. Then the protocol version, that's still fine. In fact, now that I've shortened it, by using isString, it can go on one line. Okay. Like this. And then we could also compose these safe object, host context and the theme. We could also do that as well. But like I said, I'm out of time. So I think I will just save that, make sure our tests are still passing. And yeah, just a little bit of cleanup. But again, it's using the functional mindset, thinking about our data, and trying to make things as clean, as readable as possible, so that it's easier for us to maintain it. It's easier for us to read it. Remember, we spend a lot more time reading than we do writing, so it might seem like overkill, but when you come back to this a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, it'll read a little bit better. It'll be able to flow a little bit better, and you'll just be able to start. You'll know what the code is doing a lot faster. So I will end it here, and I will see you in the next one.